Hello there! Welcome to Creature Creator, the show where I help you create monsters and encounters inspired by your favorite characters. I'm Flintworth, and today we'll be exploring the dark realm of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 to go and create our very own Springtrap.
0933, 632.
Make mommy proud, Jason.
Be my victim. Stop right there and surrender.
After the success of the first two entries in the series, game developer Scott Cawthorn took a rather different approach when developing the third entry. Gone were the legions of bots stalking around in pizzerias for one single killer animatronic locked inside a haunted house attraction, who players would quickly discover had more to do with the franchise's backstory than any other character up to this point. Over the course of several hidden minigames, FNAF 3 would reveal that the ominous Springtrap was, in fact, a man known as William Afton, one of the co-founders of Fazbear Entertainment. Publicly, he was the renowned creator of all the animatronics featured in his restaurants, while secretly, he was the feared killer of all the children that would go on to possess the very same creations. Despite Afton's best efforts to prevent his victims from using the animatronics against him, the children were able to get their revenge in the end, when almost by fate, they tricked him into one of his malfunctioning suits and watched as it crushed Afton from within. For 30 long years, Afton's soul lay trapped in this state, until the suit was rediscovered by a couple of entrepreneurs looking to create a haunted attraction inspired by the animatronic attacks over the years, allowing Afton to begin his reign of terror once more as the decayed Springtrap. This hellish robotic rabbit is easily my most favorite villain of the Five Nights franchise. His backstory is filled with all the hallmark elements of revenge, of terror, and he has the creepy ass look of his suit to back it all up. But what I'm really excited about is that, after helping you all create scenarios inspired by the first two games of Five Nights at Freddy's, we finally have a character where we can sink our teeth into to really go and build up a series of adventures around. Thus far, I've only ever been able to help you create scenarios for your players, where the main focus has always been to survive the night, whether that be through combat or clever thinking. But that was always as far we ever could have taken these scenarios. The bots from FNAF 1 and 2 are not planners or schemers. They are beings of instinct and impulse. Even the most self-aware among them, like the Puppet or Golden Freddy, are limited by still having the minds of children. If we ever wanted to expand our stories, we would need to have more intrigue, more secrets. We needed a mystery so tantalizing that your players would be willing to confront more robotic abominations for answers, to go and dive to the center of your dark world, to find the mastermind capable of orchestrating all the events within it. What we needed was our very own monstrous Springtrap. Now, before you go stuffing in random murderers inside bunny suits, there are a few ground rules that I would suggest keeping in mind while you go and craft your tales. Rule number 1, never reveal your killer's entire backstory. While it's important for you to know it, it is not important for your players to know it. Half of your scare factor will come from your killer's motivations being left in the dark. 2, keep the scale of your stories on the small side. Like the games, your Springtrap shouldn't be planning anything big like taking over the world or acquiring some powerful MacGuffin. Their goals will be more personal and focused, which you may find to be a pretty refreshing change to your typical big bad. And 3, my personal favorite, your Springtrap should never be aligned with the other animatronics. Unless you work something into your plot that allows them to mind control the other bots, the only thing on their minds should be out to go and destroy your murderer, which sets up our tale to be a three-way conflict between our players, an undead killer, and the feral monstrosities they helped to create. Speaking of which, I would recommend going back to watch my first two videos on Five Nights at Freddy's. for suggestions on how to run the various spots, as well as my recommended game systems to use. But before we even get to those encounters, you'll need to draw your players in with the right adventure hooks. You could be cheeky by taking a cue from the games and simply have a restaurant put up help wanted ads looking to get some security guards for its night shift. But simply having the rumors of missing children could go a long way too. No matter how you hook your players in, I would run your games at various locations scattered across the city. That way, you will not only have more control over how your players will encounter the various animatronics, but this will also give you a fun day and night cycle to organize your game around, where during the day, your players get to go and investigate your mystery, trying to determine which restaurant they should explore later that night. There is also the added bonus that in the event your players wreck all the animatronics in one location, you will still have ones at the other pizzerias to play with. But your players never go wrecking your toys like that, right? Right? Once you have your setting established, the next thing you'll want to settle on is your killer's scheme or endgame. With a more proactive Springtrap, one who is eager to go and beef up their kill count at any cost, you can go and create this game of cat and mouse, where your players have to go and race to stop him from going around and wreaking more havoc across the city, while tending to all the robots stirred up by his activities, which would be perfect if your players prefer to attack and ask questions later. For those who prefer to be more investigative though, you'll need to flip the script a little by having the animatronics be what draws the party in, for them to only find your killer, patiently waiting in the shadows to strike. No matter the route your group takes, their paths will cross with your killer, which leaves us one final thing to set up: a fitting battleground for the final confrontation. Unlike the maps I suggested you build for the other animatronics, which are meant to highlight their abilities and tactics, to create something worthy for our Springtraps, we will want to focus more on the atmosphere to really bring out your killer's aesthetic. We need eerie, malfunctioning lights, piles of broken, decrepit bots, and for good measure, plenty of bloodstains. FNAF 3 accomplishes this by setting its game inside a haunted house attraction, but you could easily accomplish the same with an old workshop or an abandoned home. As for the encounter itself, seeing as your players should have confronted their fair share of animatronics by this point, you will find relying more on roleplay to be what you need to really make this scenario stand out. Naturally, I created a stat block for you all to use while running this setup. However, you probably won't be utilizing it as much as you think, because as in life, so in death, William Afton uses mind games frequently to get at his victims, forcing them to see hallucinations of their darkest thoughts and fears to render them defenseless to his whims. Okay. To be fair, it has never really been stated that William has the power to force people to see things as Springtrap, but I personally wouldn't be surprised if he at some point worked out a way to use special effects to trick people into believing that he did. No matter the method you decide on, what's more important is that you get to have the fun of forcing your players to relive all of their favorite scares again and again and again. All the while, you'll be slowly sliding in your Springtrap for the kill. Only by your players' wits and the grace of their dice should your players be able to escape from such an abomination. Or better yet, to prevail in ending his reign of terror once and for all. Traditionally, the games have accomplished this either by entrapping Springtrap inside a burning building or allowing the other bots to take him and placing him inside a hell of their own design. But with this being your own story, I would highly encourage allowing your players to come up with their own fitting end to your undead killer. It's only fair to throw them a bone. At the end of the day, Freddy has plenty of other friends for us to play with, and we wouldn't want them to have to share the spotlight now, right? That would be a nightmare. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this today. I know I say that at the end of every one of my videos, but it's really coming from the heart here. When I consider that of all the content creators, all of the videos that are hosted on this site, you chose to watch me, how can I not be grateful for that? So regardless of whether you actually end up liking this video, or subscribing, please know that you still mean the world to me. And I love you either way. Take care. I'll see you next time.